Rain had been falling for hours, turning the empty streets into long rivers of reflected light. Most apartment windows had already gone dark, leaving only a handful of lonely lights scattered across the city. On the 5th floor of an old apartment building, one room was still awake. The glow of a computer screen was the only source of light. Outside, the wind rattled the loose metal gutters, creating a slow, uneven rhythm that echoed through the silent neighborhood. Everything felt ordinary, at least until the clock reached 3:33 a.m. A phone lying face up on the desk suddenly began to ring. There was no vibration, no notification sound, just an old-fashioned ringtone that shouldn't have existed anymore. The screen showed only 2 words: unknown, caller, no number, no location, nothing else. Ignoring it felt like the obvious choice. The phone continued ringing. They'd be 5 seconds, 10, 15. Then it stopped. Silence returned. The room felt strangely colder than before. The call was forgotten almost immediately. Probably a system error, probably spam. Nothing worth thinking about. Exactly 24 hours later, at 3:33 a.m., the phone rang again. The same ringtone, the same empty screen, unknown caller. This time it rang much longer, almost a full minute. Still, the call was ignored. The silence that followed somehow felt worse than the ringing itself. For the next 6 nights, the exact same thing happened. Always at 3:33 a.m., never early, never late, always exactly on time. Curiosity slowly replaced fear. By the 8th night, the decision had already been made. When the phone rang again, the answer button was pressed. Nothing, no voice, no breathing, no static, only complete silence. 30 seconds passed. Then a whisper finally came through the speaker. Not loud, not aggressive, almost gentle. You answered much later than expected. The line instantly went dead. No explanation, no second sentence, just silence. The call disappeared from the phone's history as if it had never happened. That should have been the end of it. Instead, it was only the beginning. The next morning, everything felt strangely normal. The call could have been explained away as a prank, a software glitch, or simply an exhausted mind imagining things after too many sleepless nights. That explanation lasted until the following night. At exactly 3:33 a.m., the phone rang again. This time there was no hesitation. The call was answered immediately. Silence. The same impossible silence. It lasted almost a full minute. Then the whisper returned. Look at the window. The line disconnected. The apartment suddenly felt much smaller. The room was completely still. Only the sound of rain tapping against the glass could be heard. Slowly, the curtain was pulled aside. The street below was empty. No people, no moving cars, no stray animals, nothing. Relieved, the curtain was about to be closed, until something unusual became impossible to ignore. Across the street stood another apartment building. Most of its windows were dark, except one. A single room on the 5th floor still had its light on. Someone appeared to be standing inside, perfectly still, too far away to recognize. The figure never moved, not even once. A strange feeling settled in the room. It wasn't fear, not yet. It was the overwhelming sensation of being watched. The curtain was closed immediately. A deep breath followed. There had to be a reasonable explanation. Maybe another night owl, maybe someone unable to sleep. Nothing more. Then, the phone vibrated, no ringtone this time, only one new message. There was no phone number, no contact name, just a single sentence. Look again. The room became painfully quiet. Ignoring the message seemed like the smartest decision. Several long seconds passed. Curiosity won. The curtain opened for the second time. The window across the street was still lit, but the figure was gone. A wave of relief spread through the apartment, until another vibration came, another message, only 4 words. Wrong window. Every muscle froze. There was only one window inside the apartment, unless... The message wasn't talking about the apartment window. Very slowly, the eyes lowered toward the black reflection in the glass. Instead of reflecting an empty room, the reflection showed someone standing directly behind the chair, completely motionless, watching. Every instinct screamed to turn around. But something felt wrong. Not dangerous. Impossible. The reflection in the glass remained perfectly clear. The room behind should have been empty. Instead, a tall shadow stood only a few feet away. Its outline was human. Its face was impossible to make out. The rain outside continued to fall. The reflection never moved. Neither did the shadow. A slow breath filled the silent apartment. Then, the lights flickered once. The reflection disappeared. The room behind was empty again. There was nothing there. Relief lasted only a second. The phone vibrated. Another message appeared. You looked away. The screen immediately went black. No sender, no notification history, nothing. The apartment suddenly felt colder than before. The heating was still running. Every window was closed. Yet the air carried the unmistakable chill of winter. A strange sound drifted through the hallway. A slow, steady knock, knock. 5 seconds, another knock, knock. There was no doorbell, only knocking. Soft enough to sound polite. Loud enough to make sleep impossible. Looking through the peephole seemed like the obvious choice. The hallway outside was empty. No neighbors, no footsteps, no movement, nothing. The silence stretched for almost a minute. Then, knock. This time, the sound came from inside the apartment, not the front door, the bedroom door. It had been left open earlier. Now it was closed. Completely closed. No memory remained of closing it. The knocking continued. 3 slow knocks. Then silence. The phone vibrated once more. Another message. Don't open it. The bedroom door remained perfectly still. The message made no sense. If something dangerous was inside, why warn about opening it? If nothing was inside, who sent the warning? Minutes passed. Nothing happened. The apartment became painfully quiet again. Eventually, curiosity won. A single step forward, another. The hand slowly reached the doorknob. The metal felt freezing cold. The heartbeat became louder than the rain outside. The handle turned. Very slowly. The door opened just enough to reveal darkness. Nothing else. The room appeared empty. Then, a phone began ringing. Not the one in the hand. Another phone. Somewhere inside the bedroom. The ringtone was exactly the same. Old. Mechanical. Impossible. It echoed through the darkness. 1 ring. 2. 3. The sound wasn't getting louder. It was getting closer. As if someone carrying the phone was slowly walking toward the door. The ringing stopped. Without warning, without anyone answering. The silence that followed felt heavier than the sound itself. For several long seconds, nothing happened. The bedroom remained completely dark. No footsteps, no movement, no breathing. Only the rain outside. A flashlight was switched on. Its narrow beam slowly swept across the room. The bed was empty. The chair in the corner hadn't moved. The closet door was closed. Everything looked exactly as it had a few hours earlier. Then the light landed on something resting in the middle of the floor. Another phone. Old, cracked, covered in dust. It looked like it had been lying there for years. Yet moments ago, it had been ringing. Carefully, it was picked up. The battery indicator showed 100%. There was no SIM card inside, no manufacturer logo, no lock screen. Only one application filled the entire display. Call log 1 entry every single day, always at 3:33 a.m. The oldest call had happened exactly 10 years earlier. Hundreds of identical entries filled the screen every night, without missing a single date. Then something far more disturbing appeared. At the very bottom, a future entry. Tomorrow, 3:33 a.m. Next to it, instead of incoming, it simply said, collected. A cold feeling settled in the room. The word made no sense. Collected? Collected what? The phone vibrated violently. The screen changed by itself. A camera application opened. The rear camera wasn't active. Neither was the front camera. Instead, the screen showed a live image of the apartment from somewhere near the ceiling. Someone or something was watching from above. The camera slowly zoomed in, not using fingers, not automatically, almost as if another person were controlling it. The image centered on the middle of the room. Nothing stood there. 5 long seconds passed. Then a dark shape entered the frame. Not through the door, not through the window, it simply appeared. Tall, completely black. Its body looked almost human, but its arms were far too long. They hung below its knees without moving. Its head tilted slowly toward the camera, then toward the room, toward the person holding the phone. The screen suddenly filled with static. A whisper emerged from the speaker, so quiet it was almost impossible to hear. Don't let it see you looking. The screen went black. At that exact moment, another sound echoed through the apartment. Not from the bedroom, not from the hallway, from directly behind. A slow, wet breath, close enough to touch the back of the neck. The breath lasted only a second. Cold, slow, close enough to make every muscle freeze. Turning around felt impossible. Every instinct demanded it. Every warning said not to. The apartment had become completely silent again. Even the rain outside had stopped. For the first time that night, there was absolute silence. Then the phone vibrated. One new message appeared. If you turn around, it will know you can see it. The words remained on the screen for only a few seconds before disappearing. Another message immediately replaced them. Walk to the front door. No explanation, no sender, just another command. Slowly, very slowly. Each step echoed across the apartment floor. The strange feeling behind never disappeared. It felt as though something was following only inches away. Not touching, not speaking, simply waiting. The front door finally came into view. The hand reached for the lock. It was already unlocked. That made no sense. It had been locked earlier. Carefully, the handle was lowered. The door opened. The hallway outside was empty. Dim yellow lights flickered overhead. Everything looked normal. Almost. Until something impossible was noticed. Every apartment door on the floor was open. Wide open. Dark. Silent. No voices, no televisions, no footsteps. It looked as if everyone had vanished at the exact same moment. The phone vibrated again. Don't enter any apartment. Another message appeared immediately. Go downstairs. The elevator stood at the end of the hallway. Its doors were already open. The display above it showed one number, 3. It never changed. The elevator never moved. Instead, a faint ringing could be heard coming from inside it. The same ringtone, the same impossible call. Ignoring the elevator felt like the right decision. The stairs were safer, or at least they should have been. The descent began. 1 floor, 2 floors, 3 floors. Everything seemed normal, until the numbers painted on the walls stopped making sense. Instead of reaching the 4th floor, the wall read, Floor 3, another flight of stairs, again, Floor 3, again and again. No matter how far the descent continued, every landing carried the same number, 3. The air grew colder. The lights became dimmer. The ringing became louder. Not below, not above, everywhere. The phone lit up by itself one final time. This time there was no message, only a countdown. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 59 seconds, 59 seconds. The timer had already started. No explanation, no way to stop it. At the bottom of the screen, a single sentence slowly appeared. When the timer reaches 0, do not answer the call. At that exact moment, somewhere deep below the staircase, a phone began to ring. The ringtone echoed through the stairwell. Slow, mechanical, unnaturally clear. It didn't sound like it was coming from one place. It sounded like it was coming from every floor at once. The countdown continued. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 45 seconds. Each second felt louder than the last. The instinct to run became overwhelming, but there was nowhere to run. Every landing still carried the same faded number. 3. No matter how far the stairs continued, the building refused to change. Another vibration. The screen displayed one final message. This is your last chance. The countdown reached 30 seconds, then 20, then 10. The ringing stopped. Complete silence filled the stairwell. For one brief moment, everything felt over. The timer reached 0. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. The screen went black. Nothing happened. A deep breath escaped. Maybe it was finally over. Then, the phone rang. Not the old phone, not the mysterious one, the personal phone. The one that had been carried every day for years. Its screen displayed the same familiar words. Unknown caller for several seconds. Nothing moved. The warning returned to mind. Do not answer the call. The ringing continued. 1 ring, 2, 3, 4. It finally stopped. Relief lasted only a heartbeat. A voicemail notification appeared. There had been no answer, yet somehow, there was already a voicemail. With trembling hands, it was opened. At first, only silence, then footsteps, slow, heavy, getting closer, exactly like the recording from before, then breathing, calm, patient. The recording ended with a single whisper, "Thank you for not answering." The audio stopped. A new photograph suddenly appeared in the gallery. No notification, no download. It was simply there. The picture showed the apartment building from across the street, taken at night. One window on the 5th floor was glowing. The apartment, the same apartment. The camera slowly zoomed in. Inside the window, someone was standing, watching the street, watching the camera. It took several seconds to realize the truth. The figure in the window was wearing the same clothes, standing in the same position. It wasn't a stranger. It was the person who had received the call. The photo had been taken from outside the building, where no one had been standing. Another image appeared, then another, then another. Each one taken a little closer, as if someone had been walking toward the window while taking photographs. The final image filled the entire screen. Only the window remained visible. The face inside could finally be seen. Its eyes were fixed directly on the camera. But something was terribly wrong. The reflection in the glass showed an empty room. No person, no movement, only darkness. The lights in the apartment suddenly went out. The screen went black. The phone powered itself off forever. The next morning, neighbors reported that the apartment had been found completely empty. There were no signs of forced entry, no signs of struggle, no personal belongings missing. Only one object remained on the desk, an old phone. Its screen lit up by itself. The clock read 3:33 a.m. And once again, it began to ring.